Okay, there you go, man. I'm Marcio. How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's up, fam? I'm doing good. I'm great.
All right, bro. It's been a minute. I kind of just called you into this call because recently you just sent me a couple of things about your credit score. You mentioned to me that you kind of excellent right now, which I was a bit surprised. I know you been telling that you had a lot of issues in the past, getting access to loans, credits, and things like that. And now you just mentioned recently that they kind of gave you offer like 20,000. Is that 10,000?
12, 12,000.
12,000.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's all I asked for, to be honest. I honestly didn't try getting more.
Mm.
Probably would get if I got approved for that, I probably would get more. Yeah, it was 12K.
Okay, that's cool. And then once you mentioned that to me, because I remember before, you kind of told me a couple of times you really struggle a lot when it comes to get some of these loans or access to some of this capital. I was quite surprised. And that's why I kind of want to bring in this call. Just get a bit more feedback and perspective of what will be happening in the past 6, 12 months. Can you kind of just run us through what was one of the main challenges or the multiple challenges that you kind of had, let's say, 12 months ago since you started to try to improve your situation, let's say?
Yeah, it's hard to pick which one to go about because honestly, it's been there's been quite some highlights. Uh, for a lot of people that might, if anybody's gonna be seeing this, like for them saying, okay, yeah, well, you got approved for 12K loan, like what is that? That's nothing. I mean, it really depends. Like if we go back around what 2 years ago or something like that, I couldn't even get approved for a $500 credit card. That I was trying for years. Like that wasn't the first time I tried. I've been trying to get access to credit for years and never been able to. Always getting rejected for all sorts of credits, and
Mhm.
I used to pay phone bills and stuff like that. Like I used to have like phone contracts, credit contracts, and all of that. But uh, the thing for me was like, how else am I supposed to build my credit history if I can't even get proof of single £500 credit card? You know what I'm saying? And then uh, I spoke to you then, and what was it in a space of a month to 3 months, something like that? Like you made some tweaks. We put you gave me some strategic moves to do, and in the space of 1 to 3 months, something like that, I got approved for a 3,000 for £3,000 credit card. So hold on, let me just switch off the sound. Like that was, bro, that was major for me. You know what I'm saying? Like not being able to ever get approved for nothing for years, trying to get approved for credits, and then all of a sudden with just a few a few changing a few decision makings that I was making at the time, a few
Mhm.
moves, then got approved for £3,000 credit card, right? And then everything else, then I started getting access to all sorts of stuff, the overdraft, other lines of credit, being able to buy laptops and gear for my business, all of that stuff. So like that was major. Um, but the biggest highlight for me was when I quit my job and to just fully focus on my business, right? I remember when you told me to get approved for overdraft, and at the time I didn't really understand why, because I remember always hearing stories from family like telling like don't get overdraft, otherwise you'll feel inclined to use it. Debt is bad and all of that stuff. So I never really understood why it was important, but then uh, when I had to quit my job, you know what I'm saying, and then for some time I had to be living off my savings and all and the little money that was coming from the business. Then eventually shit happened. Things didn't go as planned, and I found myself in a big predicament. In a tough situation. There was no money coming in. I had spent all my savings. I was already in debt. Credit cards and stuff like that, and all I had was the overdraft. So that's really what kept me afloat.
Mhm.
And I completely went into override mode. I went in a little panic, right? And that's when I asked you for your help, and then I remember you had gone through something very similar, right? And that's why like I went and asked for your help, and you guided me to the process. That this was what I was living off my overdraft for like 7 months or 8 months, something like that. You know, eventually I got a job, and still, even with the job, it was really hard, right? I was still living on in overdraft for a very long time, and that was tough. But during that period, I was doing things different with you, right? You were telling me to do things in a slight different way, putting some systems that would completely change. By the time that I would clear my overdraft, it would completely change my access to capital and all of that stuff. As opposed to what most people end up happening is they get themselves in a position where the credit history is ruined, the credit score, the credit file is ruined, and they like in these blacklists and all of that stuff. Well, me, no, actually just got access to more and more capital. Um, which is what I told you, the 12K. This was major for me because I needed, obviously, business wasn't going good. I needed some help, you know what I'm saying? And I needed help from mentorship. I needed mentorship to take my business off the ground, right? But I didn't have no money. Like I said, I had been living off my overdraft for like about 8 months, like no savings, no money. All the money coming in, it was just put it in the overdraft, and then bills come and money goes out again. So in this slow I was in this like slow but steady progress, right? But once I cleared it, my credit score like skyrocketed. I'm talking about like November. I was in the lowest point, right? I was like the reddest of the reddest on my credit score. And then fast forwarding now, I'm like what, about 8 points, something like that, of excellent. And I know I got approved for a 12K personal loan, which I can invest in my business. I can invest in getting mentorship to
Mhm.
take me take my business off the ground and completely take my finances through the roof and all of that. So like, yeah, that was major. That was the lowest point. And with your help, I know, just to put some people on game, like little things that I wasn't aware of, and I believe everybody has access to, but they don't know what they don't know, right? I didn't know what I didn't know. Like those little details, those little tweaks, 1 degree tweaks that you told me to do that completely made a huge impact. Like
Mhm.
I'm already in debt, right? I'm already in debt, right? So like using these schemes where you can pay a small subscription, and they give you a line of credit that you cannot use, but it just gets added. It's like a credit line that gets added to your credit file, and so that increases the perceived um, amount of credit. So when the banks look at your credit file, you have a perceived um, amount of credits, access to amount of credits that you can use, but you're actually not using. You're just using this smaller percentage. So basically that increases the amount of credit that you have access to, but you're only using this smaller percentage, which just shows to the banks that you're good at managing your finances and your credit. And that just looks good. And other stuff like um, reporting your rent payments and all of that stuff. I think even a lot of people, everybody can do that. Most people don't know they can, how that affects their credit history and the credit report. So like, just to put some people on game, like small tweaks like that completely skyrocketed my results.
Okay, that's awesome, bro. Um, and I think basically everything that you mentioned, because you mentioned some of the perspectives or some of the strategies I gave to you, it kind of in a way it kind of allowed you to get your time back, right? In a way that you could now allocate your time, your focus into building something for yourself, as you mentioned from your business side of things. Um, so tell me, how's that been for you? Like now understanding that you now know different ways and strategies that you can implement and leverage in order to achieve your dreams.
Um, it's totally completely different. I mean, like my perspective on finance, like and the structure that I have is completely different than what it was like 1, 2 years ago.
Mhm.
I think that most people have like this misconception, like they see people traveling, they see people having fun and all that stuff, and they think like they can't do it, or like the only way they need to get rich to be able to live that lifestyle that where they don't. You know, you showed me that you don't need that. You just need some. You just need structure and systems that are tailored and aligned with your goals. As long as you know exactly what is it that you're looking to do, what you want, and you just need to set up your finance. You just need to set up your system in a way that is aligned with that, so that it allows you to live that, right. If you want to travel, there's way that you can do it more often without having to like get three jobs or start a whole business and increase your income to be able to do that, right. It's just changing your habits, the way you make decisions.
Hmm.
um, so like for me, all of that changed. Like I said, I was able to quit my job and dedicate a lot of time to my business, even though it didn't work. You know, is a position that most people can't do. I was able to because, like I said, we put together a structure in place that allowed me to survive for a period of time without needing work or without depending on money, a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that was massive. That was massive. And then even when things went sideways,
Hmm.
and there was a money coming in for like about a month or two or three, something like that, until I got a job. Uh, I was able to still survive off that overdraft, what we call what you call the buffer. You know, having a buffer
Well,
for
yeah.
rainy days. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Uh, and just if you use it in a right way, it actually helps you. It actually puts you in a better position
Hmm.
where, when everything once everything is cleared and all of that, you have a lineup of people looking to get of the banks looking to get you money because you've shown them that you can manage debt in a good way. You know, so yeah, like that was a massive game changer for me too.
Okay. Yeah, and for me that's also super interesting because the thing that you mentioned, as long we have the right structure and we understand what we're trying to get out of it, it is a matter just systematize everything. And this is the thing I always keep on telling you that it's not how much money you make or how much money you don't make. It's all about understand your circumstances and understand your numbers and create a structure that is aligned with the way you're trying to live, but also aligned with the goals itself, you know. It's kind of as I tell people all the time, finance can just become like simple maths if you know your numbers. It
Mm.
can be very predictable, and it's just a matter of you have a structure and be consistent with it. And I'm super happy for that because, as I mentioned to you multiple times, bro, like I was in a tough situation, really tough situation. No, over 15K in debt. There was a time I was trying to get a job, couldn't pay my bills properly, and at the same time, well, that period, which we trying to launch a business, um, and there was a lot happening at the same time. So I think that was the period for me that I said, okay, well, I don't want to be in this position. I don't want to feel this way because this is not really the way I want to live my life, you know, always worrying about money and also having the pressure of trying to build something for myself, but there was so much to try and overcome. So that's when I really learned all of these structures and systems in place and then say to myself, well, there's a way I could also leverage other people's money, I could leverage the bank's money and still be able to move forward, you know, but make sure that I put a plan in place that makes sense for me and works for me on the long run. Um, and I find it super awesome because I think this is the thing that people should take more advantage of it in order of learning different ways that they can leverage the different resources that we have available in order to invest in their dreams and their goals.
Yeah, and let me say this because look, if you who and you might be in a tough spot, like you buried in debt up to your head, up to your neck, and you feel like stuck, like you don't know where to move. Like a lot of this stuff can be done and overcome in a shorter period of time than you think. You know, it looks more complicated and harder than it actually is. When you know what to do, when you know what to do and how to do it, like everything becomes just so much simpler, so much easier. Like I said, like for me, going from one in the space of 1 year, like 1 year and a half, not being able to even get like uh, 500 pound credit card, you know, being having debts, and then you're getting your credit score tanked to the lowest of the levels to be able to like pay majority of your debt, um, and get access to a 12K loan where I'm able to get use that money to invest in my business to be able to finally take it off the ground and take it to the levels that I want. That's completely mind blowing for me. That was completely game changing. Like I I got no savings. I have no money. I need to put this 9,000 pound deposit in this mentorship program. And if I didn't do the things that you helped me do in this past year, and now I didn't have access to that capital, to that line of credit,
Mhm.
I would still be here running around in loops doing the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? But now, because I have that, now I have the power to make this decision, right? I can make this decision, grab that money, put that 9K deposit, and get the help that I need to actually get the needle moving for me. So like that is major, and all of that stuff like in the space of a year. So look, if whoever is watching this and they're in a similar spot, where the credit report, the credit report is bad. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you have a really bad history, or you just feel overwhelmed when you have you got all of these bills to pay, you got all of these debts, and you know you feel you feel like you're not living life the way you should, right? You believe like there's more to it than what your reality currently is. You're actually not that far from that life. You're actually not that far. All you need to do is figure out what are those decisions that you need to what are those buttons that you need to press. And once you know those buttons, you know what I'm saying, and with what level of pressure that you need to press them, then like everything falls in line, and then you start to see the progress, and your perspective on everything just completely changes.
Bro, like that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm super excited because I know the journey that you kind of been through, right? Remember beginning this was kind of like Chinese for you. I remember. Um but as I said, it's about just doing the simple things and just be consistent, have a plan, implement it. That's it. Very straightforward. And I really appreciate that, bro. I really appreciate you jumping this call for your time today. I just believe it was super important for you to kind of share your perspective with other people because this can be beneficial also for others. And I really appreciate your time today, yeah.
Anytime, my guy, anytime, for real.
All right, bro. Thank you very much, yeah. Take care. Speak soon, bro.